As we delve into the life of Jeremiah as the suffering servant of God, kindly subscribe to my channel for your continued support. Let's begin. Jeremiah, often referred to as the weeping prophet, is a prominent figure in the Old Testament who is seen as a suffering servant of God. His life and ministry, as detailed in the book of Jeremiah, are marked by personal sacrifice, emotional anguish, and unwavering commitment to delivering God's messages to the people of Judah, despite their persistent resistance and hostility. Jeremiah was called to be a prophet at a young age during the reign of King Josiah. His mission was to warn the people of Judah about the impending judgment due to their idolatry and moral decay. God assured him of his presence and protection, despite the opposition he would face. Some of the evils condemned by Jeremiah included false prophecy, idolatry, where the people worshipped Baal. One of the most heinous evils included human sacrifices that were carried out at the Valley of Hinnom, where the Israelites offered their sons and daughters to the gods Molech and Baal. The messages delivered by Jeremiah brought him a lot of suffering that we are going to explore today. Jeremiah, as a prophet of God, often felt isolated because his message was unpopular. The people mocked him because his prophecies had not been fulfilled. The people said to him, "Where are those threats the Lord made against us? Let him carry them out now." He lamented his solitude and the rejection he faced from his own community. God explicitly instructed Jeremiah not to marry or have children. "You must not marry and have sons or daughters in this place. For this is what the Lord says about the sons and daughters born in this land, and about the women who are their mothers and the men who are their fathers. They will die of deadly diseases." By forbidding Jeremiah from marrying, God was making a profound statement about the severity of the coming judgment. The prohibition symbolized the hopelessness of the current generation's situation, where bringing children into the world would mean exposing them to inevitable suffering and death. God also commanded Jeremiah not to enter houses of mourning or show signs of grief for the dead. The prohibition against mourning reflected the enormity of the impending calamity. God's withdrawal of blessing, love, and pity signified a profound break in the covenant relationship between God and his people. The plot against Jeremiah's life. His relatives and friends from his hometown, Anathoth, planned to kill him, as echoed in the book of Jeremiah 11:19. "Let us destroy the tree with its fruits. Let us cut him off from the land of the living, so that his name be remembered no more." The people argued that even if they killed him, God would always raise up other prophets. Jeremiah lamented to God, since the people he was interceding for had turned against him. Jeremiah was also imprisoned multiple times for his prophecies. For example, he was beaten up and put in stocks by Pashur, the priest. Later, he was thrown into a cistern where he sank into the mud, left to die until he was rescued by Ebed-Melech, an Ethiopian eunuch. Jeremiah's emotional turmoil is evident throughout his writings. He expressed deep sorrow over the fate of his people and the destruction of Jerusalem. His prophetic messages often brought him to tears, earning him the title of the weeping prophet. One of the most vivid illustrations of Jeremiah's role as the suffering servant of God is the symbolic act of wearing a yoke as commanded by God. This act was meant to represent the coming subjugation of Judah and the surrounding nations under the Babylonian Empire. God instructed Jeremiah to make a yoke out of straps and crossbars and to put it on his neck. This yoke symbolized the burden of servitude that King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon would impose on Judah and the neighboring nations. God directed Jeremiah to send this message to the kings of Edom, Moab, Ammon, Tyre, and Sidon, warning them to submit to Babylon's rule to avoid destruction. Jeremiah's act of wearing the yoke was met with opposition from false prophets who offered a more hopeful but deceptive message. One such prophet, Hananiah, directly confronted Jeremiah. Hananiah took the yoke off Jeremiah's neck and broke it, proclaiming that God would break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar within 2 years. This symbolic act gave false hope to the people and contradicted God's true message. However, Jeremiah responded by saying that while Hananiah had broken a wooden yoke, God would replace it with an iron yoke, signifying an even harsher and unavoidable bondage under Babylon. Jeremiah's act of wearing the yoke is a powerful symbol of his role as the suffering servant of God. It demonstrates his willingness to endure personal humiliation to convey God's warning and his commitment to truth in the face of falsehood. Despite his suffering, Jeremiah's prophecies were crucial in preparing the people of Judah for the Babylonian exile and offering hope for future restoration. His messages about the new covenant pointed to a time when God would write his law on people's hearts, a prophecy later seen as fulfilled in the New Testament through Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to support this channel.